The great deserts of the world are the last true blanks on the map. They are hostile voids of scorched earth and shifting sand, so vast and inhospitable that we believe them to be empty. We see them as barriers, nature's final word on where civilization ends. But secrets, like water, always find the lowest ground. And in the deepest, most inaccessible part of the Sahara, the official story of nothing is a carefully constructed lie. For decades, a specific quadrant of the desert has been designated a government exclusion zone. Official explanations cite everything from unexploded Cold War-era munitions to extreme ecological fragility. Travel is forbidden, flight paths are diverted, satellite imagery of the area is inexplicably low resolution. Most people accepted the bureaucracy, they saw the red tape and turned back. But not Merab. For him, a red line on a map wasn't a boundary, it was an invitation. Merab had built a career on defying limits. A charismatic endurance athlete and social media phenomenon, his brand was synonymous with pushing the human body to its absolute edge. His next project was his most ambitious, a solo, unsupported trek across the forbidden heart of the Sahara, a feat of survival that would be streamed live to his millions of followers. He filed the official requests. He outlined his extensive preparations, his state-of-the-art survival gear, his impeccable safety record. The response from the government was not just a rejection, it was a stone wall. A single curt sentence stating that access was indefinitely denied for reasons of national security. No negotiation, no appeal. To Merab, the blunt refusal was more intriguing than the challenge itself. It wasn't about his safety, it was about the location. The government wasn't protecting him from the desert, it was protecting the desert from him. And Merab had to know why. Bypassing official channels, Merab planned his infiltration with military precision. A discreet flight to a remote town, a prearranged, high-priced ride deep into the desert under the cover of darkness, and a digital trail that would only begin once he was beyond the point of no return. His first 4 days were a triumph. Armed with a military-grade satellite uplink and a custom solar-powered rig, he was broadcasting a flawless 4K stream. His viewership exploded. Merab, a lone figure against an endless canvas of ochre dunes, was the biggest story on Twitch. The landscape was brutal. Searing days gave way to freezing nights, but it was a clean, predictable brutality. The journey was arduous, but going according to plan. Then, on the 5th day, the world went silent.
At 14:03 Coordinated Universal Time, every single one of Merab's communication signals was severed. His satellite phone, his data uplink, his GPS, all dead. It wasn't a signal fade, it was a surgical cut, as if a switch had been flipped. For the first time, Merab was truly alone, adrift in a sea of sand with no way to call for help, and more importantly, no way to broadcast his story. Torn between aborting the mission and pressing onward, his original purpose, the adventure itself, won out. He would continue recording, documenting his journey for a later upload. He was an explorer, not just a broadcaster. It was a decision that would lead him from a digital mystery to a terrestrial one. The next day, while filming himself and narrating his progress, his focus on the camera almost proved fatal. He took a step and found only air. A ravine, a deep, narrow chasm that had appeared in the flat terrain with no warning. He had heard of such phenomena, fissures caused by tectonic stress, but they were geologically unstable, quickly filled by the relentless sand. This one was different. Its edges were sharp, almost artificial. As his shock subsided, Merab rose and scanned the horizon. And then he saw it. The ground ahead was not a solid expanse. It was a web of countless intersecting ravines, a lattice of cracks stretching for miles. It looked as if the very crust of the earth had been shattered. Driven by a terrifying curiosity, he crawled to the edge of the chasm where his camera had fallen. Peering down, he expected to see shattered rock, or perhaps the glint of a subterranean river. The reality was infinitely more stunning. It wasn't a natural formation, it was an excavation, a metropolis hidden from the sky, built within the planet itself. Apartment complexes, streets, infrastructure, all silent, all sterile. There were no lights, no movement, no signs of life. It was a ghost town that had never been inhabited, a pristine, abandoned future. As Merab stared, his mind reeling, a new sound broke the desert's silence. Not the wind, but the high-pitched whine of electric motors. They were on him in seconds. Faceless figures in sand-colored tactical gear swarmed out before the vehicles even came to a stop. There were no shouts, no commands. The operation was silent, swift, and terrifyingly efficient. A black bag was thrown over his head, his arms were bound, and he was hauled into the back of a vehicle. His last sensation was the cool, air-conditioned chill of the interior, a stark contrast to the desert's furnace. The journey was disorienting and silent. When the bag was finally removed, Merab wasn't in a prison cell. He was in a minimalist, white room, seated across a table from a woman in a severe tailored suit. She wasn't an interrogator, she was an administrator. On the wall behind her, a massive screen displayed a live, high-definition schematic of the city he had just discovered. "You were never supposed to see this," she said, her voice calm and even. She gestured to the screen. With a flick of her wrist, holographic overlays appeared, illuminating the subterranean city. Power grids, water recycling plants, atmospheric processors, geothermal energy conduits. It was alive. "This is not a public works project," she explained, her tone devoid of emotion. "This is Project Chimera, a self-sustaining, closed-loop arc. It is designed to withstand any extinction-level event the surface world can produce, and to preserve a curated cross-section of human achievement and its most valuable individuals indefinitely." It wasn't affordable housing, it was a lifeboat, a multi-trillion-dollar doomsday vault for the global elite, built in the one place no one would ever think to look. The government secrecy, the restricted zone, the signal jamming, it all snapped into place. Merab hadn't just trespassed, he had stumbled upon the biggest secret in human history. "Your live stream did not last long, but the initial data burst was enough. You broadcast the precise location of the most secure facility on Earth. You put the entire project at risk." Merab's blood ran cold. He finally understood the major consequences mentioned in the official warnings. "You came here seeking the ultimate challenge," she said, standing up and walking toward the screen, her back to him. "You wanted to be part of something bigger than yourself, to leave a permanent mark. Congratulations, Merab. Now you are." In the weeks that followed, Merab's digital footprint was systematically erased. His videos vanished, his accounts were deleted, and his millions of followers were left with only a vague official story of a tragic accident. The internet remembers Merab as a cautionary tale of hubris. He was never arrested, he was never tried, he was integrated. His skills as an endurance athlete, his deep understanding of survival and logistics were deemed valuable assets. Merab was not a prisoner of Project Chimera, he became part of its silent, hidden staff. The man who lived to be seen now works in the shadows, helping maintain a world he can never leave for a future he may never see. The blank spaces on our maps are not always empty. Sometimes they are simply hiding places. And it begs the question, how many other empty places are there, and what secrets do they hold, waiting just beneath the sand?